Republicans have hated the Affordable Care Act ever since its inception, but unfortunately for them, both their constituents and healthcare lobbyists are desperate to keep the ACA afloat.
So, I mean, what do you say to those, since you brought it up, what do you say to those who say, look, we're not going to extend these subsidies. A lot of this money is going straight into the pockets of the insurance companies, but who say to Republicans, where is your plan? You know, I know you said you were just discussing this issue, but where's the plan that the American people can kind of get their hands around and say, well, if I'm not going to get my subsidy, I'm going to pick option B?
Well, I think there's a short-term plan and a long-term plan. In the short term, you know, we're still wrestling with how to deal with this, but I'm of the opinion that we should try to find a way to make sure that working families, those that are living paycheck to paycheck, get incremental dollars in their pocket as these subsidies roll off.
It now seems all but certain that the Obamacare subsidies will expire at the end of the year. It means more than 20 million Americans are now bracing for their health care costs to soar. Is the president prepared to let this happen, or is he going to step in?
The president is prepared to take action on health care, and he wants Republicans on the Hill to do the same. As you have seen, Senate Republicans put forth their own legislation earlier this week. As for the subsidies that are set to expire, I would like to remind you and everybody at home why this is on the brink of happening. Democrats wrote Obamacare. They passed it without a single Republican vote, and then they ballooned it with these expensive COVID subsidies that completely distorted the health insurance market. And then they doubled down, extending those subsidies and setting their own expiration date right now in 2025, which the administration is obviously well aware of, and we are working. The president is working with his healthcare policy team here at the White House, as well as Republicans on Capitol Hill, to find a solution.
You said he's working to find a solution. He wants to see a solution to lower health care costs.
He does.
But these subsidies are expiring at the end of the year. So what is the plan, and what is he going to do to put this in place in the next 2-3 weeks?
You'll hear more from the president and from the White House on that very soon. As for wanting a solution to lower healthcare costs, I'm glad you said it, because the president is doing just that. He has made unprecedented progress towards lowering healthcare costs in this country and drug prices. He's secured numerous most favored nation drug price deals, with many more to come. As you know, the One Big Beautiful Bill, the working family tax cut, significantly expanded access to health savings accounts for those on Obamacare. Again, a Democrat written program and approved program, which has led to higher healthcare costs in this country. So it goes back to the issue of affordability. Democrats are now pretending they want a solution to this issue, but they created the problem. The president and Republicans are currently coming up with creative solutions and ideas to lower healthcare costs for the American people, and you'll continue to hear more from them on that.
Before these subsidies expire?
I just said you're going to continue to hear more from the president and Republicans on this issue, I'm sure.
On healthcare, Senator, what is someone who has open enrollment starting November 1st supposed to do in response to the idea that it would take 3 to 4 months to coalesce around a plan?
Look, Obamacare is a total and complete disaster. Having the COVID era.
But what's Republicans' plan to counter that? I think is my question.
I'm answering it for you. Look, we can't fix Obamacare in 3 months. What I'm telling you is that the COVID era subsidies are a tiny fraction of any increase. The increase is happening because Obamacare is broken. It's a complete abject failure. There isn't a single Republican that voted for Obamacare. This is a Democrat plan. You should ask the next Democrat that you have on, what is your plan to fix your health care plan? Because it's objectively terrible. We will bring competition to the marketplace. We'll absolutely increase transparency. We'll have PBM reform. President Trump has done a ton to lower prescription drug prices. We're going to have most favored nation status. We can do it, but we need to put together a coalition to make that happen.
I'm not defending Obamacare or the subsidies on that, but it has been 15 years. I know you've only been in the Senate. You're new to Washington, relatively new, but some people may say, well, there's been 15 years since Obamacare passed. We haven't seen a Republican plan to replace it.
Well, Obama was president for 4 years. President Trump was president for 4 years. And then, of course, Biden came in and made everything objectively worse. And by the way, you can't defend Obamacare because
you're
it's indefensible.
acknowledging there was a Republican president in between those two Democrats who's now back in office.
In a very different situation. He only had 2 years of unified control of government. We got the most important bill done, which is tax relief for all Americans that stimulated our economy. And it had not been for COVID, we would have been in a totally different situation. Had President Trump had a second term that was consecutive, it would have been a very different situation.
We are the only wealthy nation on earth that has not figured out a healthcare for all system, a Medicare for all system. So I wanted to bring that up because while we recognize that our immediate goal is that we need to ensure that the ACA tax credits are extended. We have an immediate responsibility with a January deadline before so many people lose their health care. I wanted to make it clear and known that we also have a responsibility of fixing this system, that we have to plan now for a future where Americans are no longer rationing care. We have to plan now for a system where Americans are no longer dying of curable diseases or figuring out if they'll take their diabetes medicine or if they'll pay their rent. We not only have a responsibility to do that, but we also know that it is actually cheaper. We have data that shows us that we can implement a better system that covers all people in this country. People fundamentally want us to fix the system.
A lot of us over there struggle with medical debt. How do you handle your medical debt?
I don't have any medical debt.
Why?
Well, Canadian healthcare system is it's free.
Hey friends, I've come to the city of Detroit to get to the very edge of America, because over there, Windsor, Canada. Now, it's not very far. What separates us is a river, but also a whole chasm of political will to guarantee people health care that they need and deserve. Because on this side of the river, if you get sick and you don't have insurance, you may not be able to see a doctor at all. You might go to an emergency room and then get hit by the bill, which may cost you your home or worse. On that side, well, let's go see.
I feel like in Canada we're lucky, actually. Yeah. We're a lot luckier than the U.S.
So you just don't have to pay anything?
We don't have to pay anything.
No debt. You've never had medical debt?
No, not yet.
Like anybody in your family have medical debt?
Not that I know of.
But no debt?
Not at all. Yeah.
I don't have the same concern about medical health as you have in the States.
This is a crazy thing. So what would you all say if I told you that our medical debt is $225 billion in America?
That's crazy.
For 41 years, I've lived on that side of the river, where people go bankrupt for getting cancer, where people have to choose between whether or not they'll pay their mortgage or they'll pay their healthcare costs. And it's crazy. We don't have to live like this, just a river away. These folks don't worry about medical debt because it doesn't exist. Here in Michigan, we can have nice things too, with Medicare for all.
As midterms loom large, Republicans are starting to realize just how vulnerable they'll be if the ACA tax credits aren't extended. As that possibility of millions of people losing their health care seems increasingly likely, polling shows that Medicare for all has never been more appealing to the American public, with more Democrats and Republicans supporting a tax-funded system that would eliminate premiums, copays, and deductibles. People like Michigan congressional candidate Dr. Abdul El Said are making Medicare for all a central focus of their campaign. And as things get worse and Republicans fail to bring anything to the table, Democrats should see this as an opportunity to push for real, sustainable, life-saving change.